What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction, and in this one we have by accident in Australia what I wish I knew before. This is from YouTuber Greg Jameson. Been checking out a couple of his videos. Think they're absolutely awesome. He moved from the USA to Australia recently. Now, before we dive into this one, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. Let's see what we got.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, a couple of days ago while on my way to work, I got hit by a ute. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of what my experience has been being hospitalized here in Australia as a foreigner. And I'll give you a rundown on all the different things I wish I had prepared for while going abroad for an accident like this. But first, I'll give you a brief rundown on my injury itself. So yeah, as far as I know, I have a fracture on my kneecap and then some damage to the ligaments on the back of my knee as well. So my MCL and my ACL. When the car hit me, I got pushed by his bull bar into my back, and basically the back of my leg pressed into my bike gears, and I have two pretty deep punctures back there. While at the hospital, I had a surgery on the back of my knee just to basically clean everything out and stitch it back together. They're letting me sit for a week, and it's to be determined if I'll need any more reconstruction surgery on the ligaments themselves.
My God, man. I feel like that just sucks because you can never prepare for to go through an accident like that. You just... it's something that, right, especially he seems like a very active person, like he's always and so going through an accident like that, making you kind of sit back and not be as active as you want to be, that just sucks. That just absolutely sucks. And then surgeries, I've never gotten a surgery before, and I hope I never have to get one, but
so yeah, luckily for me, with this injury, I am fairly mobile. My right leg is pretty much immobilized at the moment. Hopefully that improves in the next few weeks. I can pretty much get through most day-to-day tasks without needing any sort of additional help. It's gonna be my first solo attempt on the shower. Got my plastic baggie ready to go. If you hear me grunting, I've been trying to wean myself off the pain meds, so feeling kind of haggard at the moment.
Oh my God.
I did it. Let's go.
Only took me 10 minutes.
It's much more of a struggle than what I'm used to, but could be a lot worse. Side note,
look, I love that attitude, bro. Shout out to him for that attitude. Does make things a lot more difficult, but could be a lot worse. So thankful that it's not. Thankful that I'm still mobile.
Shout out to everyone that commented for me to wear a helmet. I was wearing a helmet. I got a helmet after all those comments. It probably saved me from getting a concussion as well. So yeah. After I got hit by the car, the driver pulled off to the side. He called AAA or 000, which is the 911 equivalent here in Australia for emergency services. The ambulance came and got me, cut off my pants, rest in peace the Lululemons. They put me on morphine, wrapped some gauze on my leg, and then I was pretty much in the ER. Once I got to the ER, this is probably... the first moment where things kind of diverged from going to the hospital back home versus going to the hospital abroad. They had put me in a brace, and I was sitting on cloud 9 off the morphine at this point. People kept on asking
look at
him. The green whistle, which we don't have in America.
Absolutely cooked, bro. Yeah, you can tell on his face, bro. He is out of there. Hey, he said he just had an accident, but this is the best he'd ever felt in his life.
He kept on asking me if I was on the green whistle, which
I don't know what that is.
We don't have in America, but as far as I know, it's basically like if you took morphine and put it in an inhaler, and apparently that gets you properly drugged up though. So I was sitting completely out of it on the morphine, and the lady from Revenue in the hospital came to talk to me. And basically Revenue is just the department in the hospital that's in charge of collecting money from patients. Now, I think typically if you're from Australia, you just show them your Medicaid card or that you're a citizen, and you're pretty much taken care of from that point.
That is incredible.
But yeah, as a foreigner, the revenue lady came in pretty hot and heavy and started asking a bunch of questions that I was not prepared to answer. And the first thing she asked me about was if I had travel insurance. Unfortunately, I am an idiot and not what you should do, and I did not have travel insurance. And that brings me to the first thing I wish I knew before going abroad, which is travel insurance is super cheap and 100% worth it, and you should do it. So after my accident, I looked into travel insurance, and if I had gotten a quote for a year here in Australia, I would have paid about $400 US for an entire year of coverage.
That's it?
I feel like with travel insurance, it's one of those things where you just kind of think to yourself, it's probably not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the train of thought that I went down. So.
But I feel like, yeah, if I was going to be there for a year, like I would. It's just $400 for an entire year? Like the whole, like, year. That's crazy. That's less than $50 a month. Wow, bro. Yeah, that's about $35 a month. That's not bad at all. That's really awesome. That's really awesome, yeah. But I do understand him from the concept of you always think, right, it's not gonna happen to me. Like, I'm good. I don't have to worry about this. But you never know. You just never know.
Let this be a cautionary tale for you that it can happen to you, and for $400, that is really cheap insurance to make sure at least you have some sort of coverage in case you get absolutely screwed while in a different country. In my head, I always kind of thought of travel insurance as something that would cover you in case items got stolen or maybe you missed a flight, something like that.
I feel that.
And it does cover for that, but it also covers for medical. And this is huge, is a lot of medical plans that you have back home will not cover you while abroad. Now, if you don't have travel insurance, Australia does have agreements with quite a few different countries in which I believe visitors from other countries get health benefits here. In return, Australian visitors in their country get health benefits there. I know that the UK does it, Italy does it as well.
Dang, US ain't on that list.
I remember speaking to my Italian friend, and he was telling me how he had his own Medicaid card and was able to get health benefits here. And I kind of lured myself into a false sense of security where I thought, oh yeah, I could probably apply for that as well. But yeah, it's not for everybody, so make sure you look into that before you try to rely on that one. So I'm sitting there freaking out. Thinking about how I'm going to be able to pay this hospital bill. But as the revenue lady taketh, she also giveth. So she started giving me other options that I might be able to cover my costs with. And she brought up workers' comp and making a workers' comp claim. Because I was on my way specifically to go to work, I actually ended up being able to get covered by a workers' comp claim.
What?
And a big tip for you if you are trying to get covered by workers' comp is as soon as you decide on trying to go for a claim, make sure that you get a claim certificate signed by one of the doctors that's treating you in the ER or in the hospital, and then send that to your manager or employer as soon as you get that. This is for two reasons. One,
dang, that's so dope though, man. Shout out to Australia because they tried to figure out every way possible to make the burden of payment as easy as possible on him, as he was not prepared, wasn't a citizen of Australia, so didn't have that insurance, didn't have traveler's insurance, couldn't do the reciprocal health care agreement, but she kept giving options. She didn't give up. She kept giving them options until they got down to workers' comp claim that he was able to make to relieve the burden of paying for this or paying for the medical services. I think that is truly, truly phenomenal. That's truly incredible of the Australian healthcare system. And that's just beautiful. That's honestly just beautiful.
If you let workers' comp claims go past a certain point, you can no longer file them. And two, as soon as you get the workers' comp people from your employer on board, they're going to advise you on anything that might need to get worked out while you're in the hospital with your claim certificate. So in my case, the doctor had waived me off for 5 or 6 days, but that obviously changed pretty quickly, and it ended up looking more like I would need to be kept from going back to work for at least a month. So I had to have a doctor redo my workers' comp claim certificate, and I wouldn't have caught that if the agency with my employer hadn't told me to get that sorted out. And there's no
shout out
all
to
the
the
drugs that were in my system, I would have noticed that unless the agency that my employer used for workers' comp hadn't pointed it out to me specifically and told me to get it fixed by a doctor. The third option...
I'm telling you, Australia taking care of the people. The agency for workers' comp that his employer uses, hey, you need to do this. They taking care of you. They trying to get you to pay as little as possible if you have to pay it all. They're trying to help as much as possible, and that's so freaking awesome.
You might have if you don't have travel insurance and you are injured in an accident like mine is you can go through CTP or compulsory third-party insurance, and this is something that every Australian vehicle gets when they're registered, and it's basically just mandatory insurance for anytime pedestrians or third parties get injured in accidents like these. A big caveat to this is you will be compensated depending on who's at fault. So even as a cyclist, you can still be at fault for the crash itself. And in that case, you wouldn't be covered by that insurance.
I feel that.
So in total, I spent 3 nights and 4 days in the hospital. This would have been really rough if I didn't have someone to pick up.
Nah, that food, Australia, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. That don't look like that's it, dog. But then again, here in the U.S., I'm not fond of Australian or American hospital food at all either. So I guess I can't say too much. But yeah, that's not it, man. That's not it.
This would have been really rough if I didn't have someone to pick up stuff from my house, someone to just check in on me in general. Thankfully, my friend Brett from work was really there for me in a pinch. Shout out to him. Yeah, he was there with me in the ER, and he was there to drive me home from the hospital as well. But if you are going abroad, especially if you know where you're going to be for over a month, I would suggest finding someone that's local with an Australian number or a number in wherever the country is that you're at, and just asking them if they can be your emergency contact in case anything comes up.
That's awesome.
And asking them if they would be able to pick you up from the hospital in case of an accident like this. For me, I wasn't knocked out when I actually got hit by the ute. Easily it could have gone a different way. I could have been unconscious, and then no one would have known what happened to me for at least until I woke up, which could have been a day or two. Definitely make sure to have some sort of emergency contact laid out. I didn't have that, and I just got really lucky, but looking back on it, that is something I definitely wish I would have done. And I feel like this is fairly easy to forget about, especially if it's your first time living abroad as well. I know for me, I've always had some sort of support network for when incidents like this happen back home. When you're halfway across the world, no one but who's around you can really be there for you. So just making sure you have something in place is going to be huge for you.
Alright, so to recap, if you're going anywhere abroad but also to Australia, get travel insurance. It's cheap and it covers your bases quite thoroughly. So if there's one thing you get out of this video, get travel insurance before you go live abroad. Number 2, do your research on what the country you're going to has to offer as far as accident coverage as well as healthcare coverage. For Australia, you're going to want to look into RHAs, which are reciprocal healthcare agreements. This is where some countries will offer healthcare benefits to Australian travelers. In return, Australia will offer visitors from that country health benefits as well. If you're doing anything involved with work, look into making a workers' comp claim. This will help you get covered for your medical expenses, and it will also allow you to get paid for the shifts that you miss while you were out on your injury. And finally, in Australia, if you're in an accident like mine, look into CTP or compulsory third-party insurance, which you may be able to claim compensation for damages from an accident like this as well. Set up an emergency contact with an Australian number so that emergency services can get in touch with your emergency contact. Finally, one more little thing I wanted to add is as soon as you get discharged from the hospital, you're going to want to set up an appointment with a general practitioner. Here in Australia, they will prescribe you what you need to survive getting out of the hospital, but then they will refer you to a general practitioner for everything else. So you might as well get that out of the way as soon as possible. Anyways, there's still a lot more stuff that I want to cover on my accident, but I'm still waiting for the dust to settle on a lot of different things, so I'm going to wait to talk on any of that until another video. If you have any advice on a situation like this, please leave a comment down below and let us know any tips that you might have. And if you're worried about me, don't be. A little flesh wound like this can't stop me.
Yeah! Yeah, great! Nah, I rock with him heavily. I think it's really amazing of Australia. The fact that he can claim a workers' comp claim just for being on the way to work. I don't know how that works here in the U.S. I don't know if we're able to do that. But I think, that really is freaking awesome. They gave him the what was her name? The lady he had to pay. She gave him all kinds of different plans and options to figure out what exactly, I guess, would be the best path forward for him without having to put in the burden of having to pay the hospital bills on him. And so that's really good. He got the health care he needed, got the surgeries he needed. Sounds like he didn't necessarily have to come out of pocket for it, and if so, not too much. But then he also got the workers' comp where he got let his employers know that he wouldn't be able to come back for a month, and I'm sure he doesn't have to worry. Job's still going to be there once he's all healed up. I think it's all truly incredible. The entire system is truly incredible. Sad that my guy got hit and got hurt that badly, but the system really took care of him. That's all we have. If you guys enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, get a video a thumbs up, and then check out the next one. I'll see you guys next time.